Mr. Pierre-Gerlier was appointed director of the Johns Hopkins Institute for Health and Social Policy a few months ago. Previously he spent most of his academic career as a professor of social policy at Université Laval in Quebec. First of all, thank you very much for being here with us, sharing your experience in the field of the governance of healthcare institutions. As you could see in the meeting, when we talk about public healthcare trust, our main controversy is to manage two concepts, transparency and efficiency. Do you think that are concepts compatible with the management of healthcare institutions?
Yeah, I think they are compatible. In fact, I believe it's nearly a false issue. I think that what we are seeing today is that we're not defining transparency in the way it was defined 10 or 20 years ago. Transparency now is mostly based on our capacity to generate data about our activity and making sure that the data we generate is accessible for the public, for public institutions, for people that have a responsibility for oversight. So it's not transparency in the sense of having to fill forms, having to fill reports, having to go in front of Parliament every month to tell them how you have spent every penny you have spent in your institution. And so I don't see a problem there. I think that the evolution of the health system is in fact very favorable to a system in which we will be efficient in the way we manage our institutions, but at the same time we have nothing to hide. And on the contrary, we will share our data not only with our political masters, but we'll share our data with the public about our performance, about the way we spend the money, about the way we spend the money they have in fact contributed as taxpayers, and so on and so forth.
Healthcare trust here in Catalonia are struggling against bureaucracy. Do you think that is it possible to manage these institutions and to get a good accountability without rigidities?
As I mentioned in my presentation, it will ask for a sort of revolution in the way we structure our organization. It will ask for political courage from the part of the people that will have to put in place those new structures. But it's clear that, why not? The private sector is able to do that. Other non-profit organizations are able to do that. There is no reason why we're not able to transform public organizations in a way that will make them nimble, efficient, and able to perform the task for which they have been created. Most probably, the most important question we have to ask ourselves at this moment is what kind of skills, what kind of competencies, what kind of capabilities we are expecting from the people managing our organizations. If you hire only people that have been trained to basically fill forms, if you have only hire people that have been trained to make reports to the different authorities, you will have the problem of bureaucracy in your organization. But if you're looking for people that have the nimbleness, the inventiveness, the capacity of creativity that is so important, I think, bureaucracy shouldn't be a problem.
We would like also to talk about the composition of the board of directors of healthcare trusts, specifically public healthcare trusts. Do you know any way to make the appointment of directors different than a direct appointment from the government?
And as you know, as I said many times during my presentation, I think this is a really crucial question. Okay. I'm not against political appointment. It depends who the political masters are appointing. And the question they have to ask themselves is what kind of board do they want? If they want a board that is able to function in this new health and healthcare environment, they need different kind of people than the people that have been appointed in the past. They need people that will have the capacity to understand the issue, the very complicated issues that are facing a modern hospital at this very moment. So it means people that are financially literate, for instance, that are able to imagine and create new legal structures, to have a good understanding on the way care is provided. As I mentioned in my presentation, one of the most important factors at this time in terms of board selection is having people that are convinced, the self-perception, that they understand care enough to be able to have an impact on the way care is provided. This is one of the first conditions for quality in healthcare. So this means a very different kind of board member than the board members that have been appointed in the past, that were very honest, very capable persons, but that they were chosen essentially because of their capacity to represent interest. This is the past. The future is not so much in representation than its capacity for the board to be a contributor to the mission of the organization.
Professor, municipalities and local governments are engaged in some of the most valued healthcare system of the world, especially in Northern Europe. What do you think about this engagement of local governments in the delivery and in the government of healthcare systems?
There's two major reasons for that. The first one, which is something we know for 20 or 30 years, is that, basically, if you want to understand health outcomes in a given area, you have to look at what we call generally social policies, the very complex number of interventions you're making to make people well and healthy. And it includes housing, it includes urbanism, it includes public transportation, and therefore, if you don't have a direct connection with the people that are making the decisions about housing, public transportation, environment, etc., you will have a problem producing the kind of health outcomes you want to produce. So that's the first reason. This is something we know for a very long time, but you're right, very few systems have completely understood that particular issue well, and have understood the necessity to build very strong bridges between local authorities, regional authorities, and the health organization. I think the second reason, and this is something that is probably more recent in our understanding of health, is that for years we have thought of health as the center of a system in which health is influenced by a different number of factors. We are now seeing that health is in fact a very important contributor to the well-being of the society as in general, to the capacity to produce growth and wealth in the society. So once again, it's very important that you have direct bridges with the people that will benefit directly from the activity of your organization. Health care, in particular health research, but also providing care, is such an important economic engine. It's such important for the development and the harmonious development of a city. You cannot spare, this possibility of building relationship with local and regional authorities.
Professor Forest, thank you very much for to be so kind to answer our questions. And finally, let us know the name, in your opinion, the name of one or two institutions, public healthcare institutions, that could be an example of good government.
There is not one model. There is not one ideal model. What is very, very essential, important, is the fact that I don't know any well-performing organization in the healthcare sector that is not first studying itself. So, my answer to your question is that I cannot name one that will be a kind of ideal model, but I can tell you one thing: you have to study yourself constantly. Self-study is the key for success.
Thank you.
No, my pleasure.